The arrival. Jack Davidson pulled up to the security checkpoint, his old pickup truck kicking up dust on the lonely Nevada road. The harsh desert sun beat down on the windshield as he presented his newly minted credentials to the stone-faced guard. "First day, huh?" the guard grunted, handing back the ID. "Good luck, rookie. You're gonna need it." Jack nodded, trying to hide his nervousness. He'd spent years in private security after leaving the army, but this was different. Area 51 was the holy grail of conspiracy theories, and now he was about to step inside. As he drove through the gates, the legendary base sprawled before him. Hangars and low buildings dotted the landscape, with strange antennae and dish arrays pointed skyward. In the distance, a sleek shape that didn't look quite like any aircraft Jack had ever seen streaked across the sky. He parked and made his way to the security office, where a grizzled veteran named Hank was waiting to show him the ropes. "All right, Davidson," Hank said, eyeing the newcomer. "First thing you gotta know is that curiosity'll get you killed around here. You see something weird, you keep your mouth shut and your eyes forward. Got it?" "Yes, sir," Jack replied, but inside his mind was racing. What kind of place was this? Over the next few weeks, Jack settled into his new role. The work itself wasn't too different from other security jobs he'd had: patrols, checking IDs, monitoring cameras. But there was an undercurrent of tension that never went away. He noticed how certain areas of the base were off-limits, even to most of the personnel. How convoy trucks would arrive in the dead of night, escorted by heavily armed guards. The way some of the scientists looked haunted, jumping at shadows. One night, while monitoring the perimeter cameras, Jack saw something that made his blood run cold. A light appeared in the sky, moving in ways that defied the laws of physics. It sagged and zagged at impossible speeds before suddenly winking out of existence. He nearly reported it, but Hank's warning echoed in his mind. "Keep your mouth shut, eyes forward." But Jack couldn't let it go. He started paying closer attention, noting patterns in the strange occurrences. The way certain alarms would sound, followed by flurries of activity in restricted areas. Overheard snippets of conversation about the visitors and the exchange. His curiosity eventually got the better of him. During a night shift, Jack used his security clearance to slip into one of the off-limits hangars. What he saw inside changed everything he thought he knew about the world. Rows of sleek craft, definitely not of human origin. Pieces of technology that seemed to defy the laws of physics. And concealed chambers, glimpses of beings that couldn't possibly be from Earth. Jack stumbled out of the hangar, his mind reeling. This was beyond anything he'd imagined. The conspiracies were true. Humanity wasn't alone in the universe, and Area 51 was at the heart of it all. He managed to compose himself before anyone noticed his unauthorized detour. But now that he'd seen behind the curtain, Jack knew he could never go back to blissful ignorance. As the days passed, he gathered more pieces of the puzzle. Overheard conversations about galactic politics and impending threats. Glimpses of human scientists working alongside beings that could only be described as alien. Jack realized he was sitting on the biggest secret in human history. But what was he supposed to do with that knowledge? Who could he possibly tell that would believe him? The answer came sooner than he expected. One night, as he patrolled a quiet corridor, a hand reached out from the shadows and pulled him into a secluded room. Jack found himself face to face with Dr. Elena Reyes, one of the top scientists on the base. Her eyes were wide with fear and urgency. "We don't have much time," she whispered, "but I've seen you watching, noticing things. We need people like you." "What are you talking about?" Jack asked, his heart pounding. "The fate of humanity is at stake," Elena said. "And believe it or not, you're now a part of it. Are you ready to learn the truth?" Jack hesitated for only a moment before nodding. There was no turning back now. "Tell me everything," he said. And with those words, Jack Davidson, former Army grunt turned security guard, took his first steps into a larger universe, one filled with wonders, terrors, and a threat that would put all of humanity to the test: cosmic chess. Jack's world expanded exponentially as Dr. Elena Reyes unveiled the cosmic tapestry hidden behind Area 51's veil of secrecy. The security guard found himself thrust into a galactic drama that defied his wildest imagination. Humanity is a pawn in a game of cosmic chess, Elena explained, her voice barely above a whisper. We've been in contact with multiple alien civilizations for decades, but we're considered primitive, a backwater planet barely worth noticing. Jack's mind reeled. But all this technology, these craft I've seen. Elena nodded grimly. Gifts from various factions, each trying to curry favor or manipulate us for their own ends. We're not just studying alien tech here, Jack. We're trying to level the playing field. As Elena spoke, alarms began blaring throughout the facility. Jack instinctively reached for his weapon, but the scientist grabbed his arm. "This is what I've been waiting for," she hissed. "Follow me, and whatever you do, don't make a sound." They crept through back corridors, avoiding the rush of personnel responding to the alarm. Elena led Jack to a hidden observation room overlooking a massive underground hangar. What he saw there would be seared into his memory forever. A shimmering portal of energy crackled in the center of the space. Through it stepped a procession of beings that defied description, some vaguely humanoid, others so alien that Jack's mind struggled to process their forms. "The Galactic Council," Elena whispered. "Representatives from the major powers in our sector of the Milky Way. They rarely bother to visit in person." Jack watched in awe as human officials greeted the alien delegation. The tension in the room was palpable, even from their hidden vantage point. "Why are they here?" Jack asked. Elena's expression darkened. "Because the game is changing. A hostile force is moving through the galaxy, consuming everything in its path. Advanced civilizations have fallen before it. Now it's headed for Earth." Jack felt a chill run down his spine. "Why us? We're nothing compared to them." "That's just it," Elena said. "We're so insignificant that the major powers never bothered to conquer us outright. Earth is a strategic backwater, which makes us the perfect place to hide something of great value." As they watched, one of the alien delegates presented a small, unassuming cue to the human leaders. Even from a distance, Jack could sense the object's importance. "The Nexus Key," Elena breathed. "Rumored to be capable of controlling wormholes throughout the galaxy. If the hostile force gets it, there'll be nowhere left to hide." The gravity of the situation hit Jack like a sledgehammer. Humanity, barely able to reach its own moon, was suddenly the custodian of an artifact that could decide the fate of the galaxy. "So what do we do?" he asked. Elena turned to him, her eyes blazing with determination. "We prepare, we innovate. We show the galaxy that humanity is more than just a primitive backwater." As the alien delegation departed, the hangar erupted into a flurry of activity. Scientists and military personnel swarmed around the Nexus Key, already beginning their work. "This is where you come in, Jack," Elena said. "We need people we can trust, people who can think outside the box. Your military background and your ability to notice things others miss, we need those skills." Jack's mind was spinning, but a sense of purpose began to crystallize within him. All his life, he'd felt like he was meant for something more. Now, the fate of not just humanity, but countless alien civilizations hung in the balance. "I'm in," he said firmly, "whatever it takes." Elena smiled for the first time since she'd pulled him into this new reality. "Good, because we're about to attempt something never done before in the history of the galaxy." She led him deeper into the facility, past layers of security that even his new clearance shouldn't have allowed. They entered a vast chamber filled with a bewildering array of technology, some clearly alien, others bearing the marks of human ingenuity. "Welcome to Project Prometheus," Elena announced. "We're going to steal fire from the gods and reforge humanity's destiny." Jack looked around in awe at the scientists and engineers working feverishly on devices he couldn't begin to comprehend. "What exactly are we trying to do here?" Elena's eyes gleamed with a mixture of excitement and fear. We're going to take the alien technology we've gathered, combine it with human innovation, and create a defense system unlike anything the galaxy has ever seen. She pointed to a holographic display showing the solar system. Traditional defenses won't work against the threat we're facing. We need to think bigger. The display zoomed out, revealing a web of energy connecting the planets and moons. We're going to turn our entire solar system into a fortress. Jack's jaw dropped as he began to grasp the audacity of the plan. Is that even possible? With the Nexus key, it just might be, Elena said. But we're in a race against time. The hostile force is coming, and we need every edge we can get. She turned to Jack, her expression deadly serious. Your job is to keep this project safe, both from external threats and internal leaks. There are factions that would kill to get their hands on what we're developing here. Jack nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility settle onto his shoulders. He was no longer just a security guard. He was now a guardian of humanity's last best hope. As if on cue, alarms began blaring once again. But this time, it wasn't the sound of an alien arrival. Gunshots echoed in the distance, followed by inhuman shrieks. It's starting, Elena said grimly. The first attempts to steal our work. Are you ready, Jack? He checked his weapon, years of military training kicking in. Ready as I'll ever be. Together, they moved towards the sound of battle. Jack Davidson, once a simple security guard, now stood as a sentinel at the crossroads of human history. The fate of Earth, and perhaps the galaxy itself, would be decided in the crucible of Area 51. And humanity, led by unlikely heroes like Jack, was about to show the cosmos what they were truly capable of: the human factor. The corridors of Area 51 had become a war zone. Jack moved with practiced efficiency, his military training kicking into high gear as he and Dr. Elena Reyes navigated the chaos. Flashes of energy weapons illuminated the hallways, mixing with the report of conventional firearms. This way, Elena hissed, pulling Jack into a hidden alcove. They watched as a group of shadowy figures moved past, their forms shifting and blurring in ways that hurt Jack's eyes to look at directly. Shapeshifters, Elena explained. Mercenaries for hire. Someone's pulled out all the stops to get their hands on Project Prometheus. Jack's mind raced. How did they even know about it? The security here was supposed to be impenetrable, Elena finished. We've got a mole. Come on, we need to reach the core lab. They pushed deeper into the facility, encountering pockets of resistance along the way. Jack found himself fighting alongside soldiers wielding energy weapons straight out of science fiction, battling creatures that defied description. Yet, for all their advanced technology, the alien intruders seemed unprepared for the sheer tenacity of the human defenders. Finally, they reached the heart of Project Prometheus. The massive chamber was a hive of activity, scientists working frantically to secure their research while security teams established a perimeter. Jack, I need you to buy us time, Elena said, her eyes locked on a central console. We're on the verge of a breakthrough. If we can complete the initialization sequence, we might just have a chance. Nodding grimly, Jack took charge of the security teams. He quickly assessed their resources and began orchestrating a defense that utilized every advantage they had, including their knowledge of the base's layout. As the battle raged, Jack witnessed firsthand the ingenuity of his fellow humans. Scientists repurposed experimental technology into makeshift weapons. Security personnel used their intimate knowledge of the facility to outmaneuver technologically superior foes. It was a testament to human adaptability and resourcefulness. Hours blurred together in a cacophony of combat. Jack lost count of the close calls, the moments where all seemed lost only for someone to pull off a miraculous save. Despite being outnumbered and outgunned, the defenders of Area 51 held their ground. Just when it seemed they couldn't hold out any longer, Elena's voice cut through the chaos. It's done. Jack, get everyone to the central platform. Following her command, Jack organized a fighting retreat. They fell back to the heart of the lab, where a shimmering energy field sprang to life around them. Outside the barrier, their attackers pressed forward, only to be repelled by the strange energy. "What is this?" Jack asked, marveling at the iridescent shield. Elena's face was a mixture of exhaustion and elation. "The first stage of Project Prometheus. We've created a localized pocket of altered space-time. Those outside the field are experiencing time at a vastly accelerated rate." Jack watched in awe as the attackers seemed to move in extreme slow motion. "So we're safe?" "For now," Elena nodded. "But this is just the beginning. We've proven the concept, but to truly protect Earth, we need to think bigger, much bigger." As the dust settled and the immediate threat passed, Jack found himself in a meeting with the highest-ranking officials left standing. The losses had been heavy, but humanity had held the line. The shapeshifters were just the first wave, General Hawthorne, the base's commanding officer, explained. "Our long-range sensors show multiple hostile fleets converging on the solar system. We're looking at a full-scale invasion." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity was about to face its greatest test, a baptism by fire on a galactic stage. "Project Prometheus is our best hope," Elena said, pulling up a holographic display of the solar system. "We need to scale up the technology, create a network that encompasses our entire solar system, but we can't do it alone." Jack leaned forward, his tactical mind already racing. "What are you proposing?" Elena's eyes gleamed with determination. "We need to go public, reveal the existence of alien life, the threat we're facing, and rally the entire human race to our cause. It's time to bring the world's best and brightest into the fight." The room erupted into heated debate. The implications of revealing such world-shaking truths were staggering. But as Jack listened to the arguments, he realized they were running out of options. "We do it," he said, his voice cutting through the noise. All eyes turned to him. "Humanity's greatest strength has always been our ability to come together in the face of adversity. If we try to face this threat alone, we've already lost. But if we stand united..." General Hawthorne nodded slowly. "It's a gamble, but you're right. We need all of humanity on board if we're going to pull this off." He turned to Elena. "Doctor, how quickly can we get the word out?" Elena smiled grimly. "Oh, I think I have an idea that will get everyone's attention." Within hours, the plan was set in motion. As Jack helped coordinate the base's defenses, he watched on monitors as humanity's world changed forever. All around the globe, massive holographic projections appeared in the skies over major cities. The secret history of Earth's interactions with alien life was laid bare, along with a dire threat now racing towards them. But it wasn't a message of despair. Instead, it was a call to arms. A challenge to the people of Earth to rise up, to innovate, to show the galaxy what humanity was truly capable of. As the message spread, Jack felt a swell of pride. He saw people from all walks of life, all corners of the globe, rallying to the cause. Scientists volunteered their expertise. Engineers offered groundbreaking ideas. Even children sent in drawings of fanciful inventions that sometimes contained sparks of brilliance. For the first time since learning of the cosmic threat, Jack felt a glimmer of hope. Humanity was awakening, rising to meet its destiny among the stars. But the enemy was still coming, and as Jack looked to the skies, he knew that the real battle was just beginning. The next few weeks would determine not just the fate of humanity, but perhaps the course of galactic history itself. And he, Jack Davidson, once a simple security guard, now stood at the very heart of it all. Starforge Symphony. The weeks following the global revelation passed in a whirlwind of activity. Jack found himself at the center of humanity's greatest undertaking. Project Prometheus had evolved into Operation Starforge, a daring plan to transform the entire solar system into an interlocking defense grid. Earth had become a hive of frenzied innovation. Traditional rivalries and conflicts were set aside as the planet united against the looming extraterrestrial threat. The corridors of Area 51, once shrouded in secrecy, now bustled with a diverse array of Earth's brightest minds. Jack's role had expanded far beyond security. His unique perspective, a blend of military tactics, security expertise, and first-hand experience with alien technology, made him an invaluable part of the planning team. "We've got incoming transmissions," announced Zara, a teenage prodigy who had been recruited for her unparalleled skills in xenolinguistics. Her fingers danced over holographic controls, decoding the complex signals. Multiple species, all warning about the approach of the swarm. Dr. Elena Reyes nodded grimly. "That's what they call themselves. A hive-mind consciousness that consumes all in its path, assimilating technology and life forms alike." Jack leaned in, studying the tactical projections. "How much time do we have?" 2 weeks, maybe less," General Hawthorne said, his face etched with worry lines. "We're working miracles here, but I don't know if it'll be enough." "It has to be," Jack said firmly. "We've come too far to fail now." As if in response to his words, alarms began blaring throughout the facility. Zara's eyes widened as she interpreted the incoming data. "We've got a problem. A big one." The main view screen lit up, showing a massive asteroid hurtling towards Earth. But this was no natural phenomenon. The surface of the rock was alive with lights and movement. "An advanced scout," Elena breathed. "They're testing our defenses." General Hawthorne barked orders, mobilizing Earth's hastily assembled space forces. But Jack saw an opportunity. "Wait," he said, "an idea forming. Let them get closer." Elena looked at him sharply. "Are you insane? That thing could devastate the planet." Jack shook his head, excitement building. "Not if we use it against them. Doctor, you said the Nexus key can control wormholes, right? What if we open one right in that asteroid's path?" Understanding dawned in Elena's eyes. "We could redirect it, potentially right into the heart of the swarm's fleet." The next hours were a frenzy of activity. Jack coordinated with teams around the world, synchronizing their efforts in a delicate dance of technology and timing. As the asteroid entered the outer edges of Earth's space, tension in the control room reached a fever pitch. Jack stood beside Elena, watching as she manipulated the alien artifact they had dubbed the Nexus Key. "Now," Jack shouted as the asteroid reached the optimal position. Elena activated the device, and reality itself seemed to tear open. A swirling vortex of energy appeared directly in the path of the oncoming threat. For a heart-stopping moment, it seemed as if the plan had failed. The asteroid was simply too massive, its momentum too great. But then, with a flash of light that momentarily outshone the sun, the massive rock vanished into the wormhole. Cheers erupted throughout the control room, but Jack knew this was only the beginning. "Where did you send it?" he asked Elena. She smiled grimly. "Right into the heart of the swarm's main fleet. If we're lucky, we just took out a significant chunk of their forces." As the implications sank in, a new energy filled the room. They had bloodied the nose of a seemingly unstoppable enemy. Humanity had landed its first real blow in this cosmic conflict. But the real work was just beginning. With renewed vigor, teams around the world threw themselves into the final stages of Operation Starforge. Jack found himself bouncing between projects, offering insights and coordinating efforts. He watched in awe as the inner planets were ringed with swarms of automated factories, churning out components for the solar system-wide defense grid. The moon was transformed into a fortress world, its surface bristling with weapons emplacements and sensor arrays. Mars became the forward operating base, its rusty sands now home to sprawling military complexes. Even the gas giants were put to use. Jupiter's intense magnetic field was harnessed to power massive energy weapons, while the rings of Setchen were seeded with mines and stealth platforms. Through it all, the Nexus Key was their ace in the hole. Elena and her team worked tirelessly to unlock its secrets, integrating its wormhole manipulating abilities into the very fabric of their defenses. As the deadline approached, Jack stood in the newly constructed Starforge Command, a space station at the heart of Earth's orbital defenses. The holographic display before him showed the culmination of humanity's efforts, a solar system transformed into an interlocking web of defenses, sensors, and weaponry. Incoming wormhole signatures, Zara announced, her voice tense. Massive fleet emerging at the edge of the system. Jack took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment. Humanity had done all it could to prepare. Now, it was time to face their destiny. All stations, battle stations, he ordered, his voice calm and assured. This is what we've been preparing for. Let's show the galaxy what humanity is made of. As the first wave of the swarm entered weapons range, the solar system came alive with energy. Weapons of both human and alien design opened fire, filling space with a dazzling array of destructive force. The battle for Earth, for the very future of humanity, had begun. And Jack Davidson, once a simple security guard, now stood at the forefront of mankind's greatest trial. The cosmos watched with bated breath as an upstart species faced off against a galactic terror. Win or lose, humanity would never be the same again. Cosmic crescendo. The void of space erupted into a symphony of destruction as humanity's defenses clashed with the swarm's onslaught. Jack Davidson stood at the heart of Starforge Command, his eyes darting between holographic displays as he coordinated Earth's forces in the greatest battle in human history. Swarm vessels breaching the Kuiper Belt defense line. Zara called out, her fingers flying over her console. They're adapting to our weapons faster than predicted. Jack gritted his teeth. The swarm's ability to assimilate and improve upon technology they encountered was proving to be as formidable as they feared. But humanity had a few tricks up its sleeve. Activate the Dyson lens, Jack ordered. At his command, a massive array of solar collectors around the sun shifted, focusing the star's energy into a devastating beam. The weapon lanced out, vaporizing a swath of swarm ships. But the victory was short-lived as the surviving vessels quickly adapted, their hulls morphing to reflect the intense energy. They're pushing through Saturn's rings, Elena reported, her face grim. The nanite minefields are barely slowing them down. Jack's mind raced, looking for an advantage. Then it hit him. Doctor, the Nexus key, can we use it to open multiple wormholes simultaneously? Elena's eyes widened as she grasped his plan. Theoretically, yes, but the power requirements would be enormous. Zara, tell the Jupiter teams to divert all power from the magnetic cannon array, Jack commanded. Elena, get ready to make some holes in space-time. As the order was carried out, Jack opened a channel to Earth's combined fleet. All ships, this is Starforge Command. Prepare for Maneuver Omega. Things are about to get weird. With a surge of power that dimmed the lights across half the solar system, Elena activated the Nexus key. Space itself seemed to fracture as dozens of wormholes blinked into existence throughout the battlefield. Now, Jack shouted. Earth's ships dove into the portals, emerging behind enemy lines, inside their formations, even within their massive ships. The orderly swarm devolved into chaos as human vessels appeared where they shouldn't be possible, unleashing devastating attacks before vanishing again. But the swarm was quick to adapt. As the battle raged on, they began to anticipate the wormhole locations, setting traps of their own. We're losing ships fast, General Hawthorne reported, his holographic image flickering with interference. The swarm's pushing towards Mars. If they take it, Earth is next. Jack felt the weight of billions of lives on his shoulders. They needed something more, something the swarm couldn't adapt to. His eyes fell on the Nexus key, pulsing with otherworldly energy. Elena, he said slowly, an insane idea forming. You said this thing can control wormholes throughout the galaxy, right? What if we think bigger, much bigger? Elena's eyes widened as she caught on. You can't be serious. The energy required, it could tear the solar system apart. And if we do nothing, the swarm will do worse, Jack countered. He turned to the command staff. I need volunteers for a suicide mission. We're taking the fight to them, to every corner of the galaxy they've infested. Despite the danger, hands shot up across the command center. the best and brightest of humanity, ready to sacrifice everything. What followed was a mad scramble as Jack's plan was put into motion. The Nexus key was moved to Earth's most powerful warship, the EFS Humanity's Hope. Jack insisted on leading the mission himself, joined by Elena Zara and a hand-picked crew of Earth's finest. As they prepared to depart, a transmission came through from the surface. It was a global broadcast, showing scenes from around the world. People of all nations and walks of life were gathered, watching the skies, praying, hoping. Children held up drawings of the Humanity's Hope. Street artists had painted murals depicting the ship as a shining lance of light piercing the darkness. "Bring us home a victory, Jack," General Hawthorne said, his usual gruff demeanor softening for a moment. "Show them what humanity's made of." With a lump in his throat, Jack nodded. "We won't let you down." The Humanity's Hope shot out of Earth's orbit, blazing through the chaotic battlefield. Swarm ships moved to intercept, but supporting fire from the solar defense grid cleared a path. "We're in position," Elena announced as they reached the calculated focal point, initiating Nexus key activation sequence. The ship shuddered as reality itself seemed to groan in protest. Outside the viewports, space twisted and warped. "Multiple wormhole signatures detected," Zara reported, her voice filled with awe. "Hundreds, thousands, I can't even count them all." Jack took a deep breath. "Take us in. All hands, prepare for transgalactic jump." The Humanity's Hope plunged into the swirling vortex. What followed was a journey beyond human comprehension. They bounced from wormhole to wormhole, emerging for split seconds in distant parts of the galaxy. At each location, they unleashed a payload, miniaturized versions of the Nexus key, each programmed to create localized space-time disruptions. Everywhere the swarm had spread, they now found their conquered territories thrown into chaos. The ship's sensors were overwhelmed with data as they witnessed the swarm's vast empire crumbling. Hive worlds were torn apart by gravitational forces. Fleets were scattered across light years. The galactic arm itself seemed to shudder under the strain. But the toll on the ship and its crew was immense. Systems failed, reality itself seemed to blur around them. Just when it seemed they couldn't take any more, a final wormhole deposited them back in Earth's orbit. The scene that greeted them was one of tentative victory. The remnants of the swarm fleet were in disarray, easy pickings for Earth's battered but unbowed defenders. As cheers erupted across the solar system, Jack slumped in his chair, exhausted but triumphant. Humanity had faced its greatest test and emerged victorious. In the days that followed, the full scope of their victory became clear. The swarm's hive mind had been shattered, its forces scattered across the galaxy. But more than that, humanity's actions had saved countless alien civilizations from annihilation. Transmission after transmission poured in from grateful species, many offering alliances, trade agreements, and cultural exchanges. Humanity, in one fell swoop, had gone from a backwater curiosity to a major galactic power. As Jack stood on a podium before the United Nations, preparing to address a global audience about humanity's new place in the cosmos, he couldn't help but smile. The security guard who had stumbled upon a cosmic secret had helped shepherd his species to the stars. The future was uncertain, filled with both promise and peril. But Jack knew one thing for certain: humanity was ready for whatever the galaxy had in store. As he began his speech, Jack's words echoed across the planet and beyond, carried by technology born of humanity's triumph. "Citizens of Earth, denizens of the galaxy, today marks a new dawn for us all.